If you spotted the name Jason Robards in the credits and are wondering where he was, well, that was his father in the role of Lieutenant Detective Ferrari. Before his son became a star on stage and screen, and the second husband of Lauren Bacall, the original Jason Robards didn't have to attach senior to his name.
It's all this running around in the cold and everything has got me kind of soft in the head. But I like you.
As for Steve Brody, after a featured role in the Caine Mutiny in 1954, most of his performances shifted to the small screen, where he became a regular featured player on, what else, dozens of Western and cop shows. His old pal Raymond Burr had become a big TV star by then, and he showed loyalty to his old RKO stablemate by casting Brody in numerous episodes of Perry Mason. Brody worked all the way into the 80s, one of his last appearances being in the 1984 film Delta Pi, written and directed by his son, Kevin. The co-star of Desperate, Audrey Long, was a John Powers model-turned-actress whose brief career, most of it in the 40s, was largely in B films for various studios, including RKO. That's where the same year as Desperate, she made her most well-known film, Born to Kill, playing Claire Trevor's naive sister. It was at RKO where she met her future husband, Leslie Charteris, the popular British mystery author whose books featured Simon Templar, a.k.a. the Saint. RKO had produced a string of Saint programmers in the early 40s, mostly starring George Sanders, whenever he took a break from playing the Falcon. Audrey Long made her last movie, 1952's Indian Uprising. Then she moved to England, where she and Charteris remained married until his death in 1993. And let me pay brief tribute to bit player Freddie Steele, who appeared in today's film as Shorty Abbott.
Hi, wise guy, drive where I tell you.
Steele's busted-up mug and grizzled voice were perfect for playing thick-headed hoodlums or liveried doormen who'd once been boxers, which is precisely what Freddie Steele was. In fact, he won the middleweight championship of the world in 1936, taking a 15-round decision from Babe Risco. Despite being born in Seattle, Steele earned the nickname the Tacoma Assassin for being one of the hardest punchers ever in his weight class. But a car accident caused injuries that he never completely overcame. And 2 years after winning the title, he lost it to Al Hostak on a first-round knockout. He left boxing with a record of 125 wins, 5 losses, and 11 draws, with 60 knockouts. Not too shabby. After being hired as a boxing consultant on a few films in the early 40s, Raoul Walsh had Steele double for Errol Flynn, from the waist down, in Gentleman Jim to enact the fighter's fancy footwork. Walsh loved Steele's look, so he cast him as the referee for the film's title bout. And although Steele had bit roles in terrific noirs, including I Walk Alone, Black Angel, and Call Northside 777, his best role, by far, was as Sergeant Warnicki in Story of G.I. Joe, where he fought his way across Europe while searching endlessly for a needle in the rubble to play a phonograph record of his son's voice. To him, probably not as memorable as winning the middleweight championship, but Sergeant Warnicki may end up being what Freddie Steele is best remembered for. Now, I will end with this intriguing tidbit recently learned from a colleague, the relentlessly curious John Ranovics. While most bios list Anthony Mann's birthplace as San Diego, the fact is he was born in 1906 in a bizarre utopian commune south of San Diego, known as Loma Land. It was the home of the Universal Brotherhood and Theosophical Society, founded by Russian occultist Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, who preached moral purity through strict discipline. Loma Land had only 500 residents, 300 of which were children. And Mann spent his entire childhood there, but was removed by a distant cousin when he was 14 and relocated to Orange, New Jersey. Now, what's oddly coincidental about this, given the director's constant run-ins with the production code over the violence in his films, was that the longtime number 2 man in the PCA, Jeffrey Sherlock, was also reared in Loma Land. Now, the strange saga of Theosophy and the effect it may have had on the director and on one of Hollywood's chief censors can be found in the latest Noir City Annual, the 10th published by my Film Noir Foundation. You can get it on the Noir Alley website. Look for the article, Uncommon Grounds, Anthony Mann, Jeffrey Sherlock, and the Cult of Theosophy. And don't forget to keep up with all things noir on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Join me back here next week when Steve Brody's buddy, Robert Mitchum, returns to Noir Alley and, as usual, makes a colossal mistake when it comes to a woman. Saturday night at midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific, or Sunday morning at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. Be here for Angel Face and a backstory as weird and disturbing as the film itself. See you then.